And we're back. What is up, your wifey's league? Welcome to episode 2
Coco.
of the Coco podcast. I was gonna say, are we rolling with that name? But
Coco.
you got it. So hell yeah.
I'm gonna make us a
Um,
logo and everything so people can suck it.
yes, yes. Um, make them suck it. Draft week, crazy as always in our league. Um,
I've realized that
and
mock drafts are just bullshit.
yep. David said the same thing in the middle. It was like all my mock drafts are useless. And like it is to an extent. I think I was telling Phil, I might have been telling you too, but like it's good to kind of like recognize like value, right? So like in all
Yeah.
my mock drafts, Jameer Gibbs never fell past the third or fourth round. And like so when I was sitting there drafting in our league and he was there in the sixth, it was
Yeah.
like it might as well, you know?
I saw a
Um,
TikTok video earlier and they had him listed as a sleeper. And I'm like, this dude is not a sleeper. What
he's
are we
not a
saying
sleeper.
here?
They spent the 12th overall pick on him, and they have like nobody behind Amon Ra. Like, Mans is going to get work some way. Um, but yeah, so first off, I wanted to ask from your perspective as the number one overall pick, would you have done what Claudia did and take Chase over JJ?
No. But I think that with obviously I have a little bit more football knowledge than Claudia does. It's not saying Claudia doesn't know what she's doing. It's just
Is
saying,
it obvious? Is it? No, okay.
oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I'm a Cowboys fan. I get it. Honey. I just
I
think
would
that
like you to know that a message just dropped down from my top of my screen and it says, "Tell Rich he can suck one."
all right. Um I think JJ has more weapons around him that I mean, obviously he demands a lot of attention, but with them drafting a receiver, with them having Alexander Madison in the backfield, like he is going to have plenty of attention also taken away from him because if they
With
don't, they're gonna
Hawkinson
get
too.
smoked.
Hawkinson
Oh yeah,
killed it
Hawkinson too.
last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. So I think I would have taken JJ in the first.
Yeah. Her and I like her analysis of it because she actually like got deep into it and like did some
Really?
research and
I
stuff.
thought she was
Yeah,
just
she had a
winging it.
whole no, I mean, yes, but like she also like was winging it by her research. But she had like a whole list and like a notepad and she was scratching people's names off. But her thing is like historically in fantasy, the player who goes or finishes as that position's number one typically does not repeat. So like 2 years ago, right, we had Jonathan Taylor, who was the RB1. Everybody took him first overall, and what happened? He wasn't as good last year. Um, Same with like Josh Allen. Josh Allen was the quarterback one the year before, but Allen's always like 1-2, 1-2, but it was Mahomes last year. So her thing is that JJ was the wide receiver one last year, and he will not repeat because historically we don't see it repeat, and it'll be somebody else. It'll be Chase.
But
Which like
I like her thinking. Her way of thinking is awesome. What's scary is that we were doing the same thing. I mean, what is happening?
she had it on her iPad and she was like crossing it out, and it was funny because like she she had like compiled a list of a bunch of people that she liked, and she's like, I'm gonna just throw some names out there and you tell me if they're like injured. And I was like, okay. And she like said a bunch. I was like, oh yeah, he had an ankle sprain last year, but he's good. She's like, nope, he's done. She no tolerance for injuries.
That's crazy.
So
Crazy. Yeah, when you grabbed Gibbs, I was surprised because I expected him. Honestly, I expected him to fall a little bit later. Like I expected him to to fall to me at least with that with the sixth round. But I was like, shit, that sucks because I really wanted
dude,
him.
there was so many times where I was like, somebody's gonna snipe me. Like Phil, you, and Darrell, like constantly, I was terrified. When I had picked up Trevor Lawrence and I was like, okay, like Ridley's gone. I really want some sort of stack. And I had already taken Mark Andrews, so I wasn't gonna get Evan Ingram. And I was like, okay, I feel like Kirk is like solid, right? He had a
Mhm.
good year last year. And the whole time I'm just like, Rich is gonna take Kirk. And then you didn't. And then I was like, Phil is definitely gonna take Kirk. And then he didn't. Like I just kept kept getting lucky, so I feel like I got decently fortunate. Um, all right. What is your craziest move of the draft? Was it Claudia taking a kicker in the ninth round, but she got the best kicker? That's her, again, that's her strategy is like, you can't say anything because she reached, but she got the best kicker. Darrell taking a QB in the 12th pick overall. Curtis going three QBs, two of them back to back in the late rounds, plus two kickers
Man,
back to back. Man's just threw away like five of his draft picks. Or Chantel auto drafting her entire team and actually ended up with a decent squad.
I so first of all, I feel like there's always somebody somewhere that auto picks and gets a solid team. Like I'm half tempted just to auto pick next year and see what happens. Just go for it.
Just roll with the squad.
I think that man, it's hard to pick, but I would say if I had to pick one, I would say Darrell starting the fucking train of quarterbacks going so early. Like
That was so early.
we had four quarterbacks off the board by the fourth round.
By like the third, I feel like because
Well, the
he
third, yeah,
started it,
that's when
and
they
then
were
that like
drafted.
forced, yeah, that like forced everybody to start taking him, and it was like I would. So no shit on Darrell. He wanted Mahomes. Get Mahomes. That's your guy. That's fine. I would have only gotten like if he would have picked Kelsey, like if Kelsey would have fallen to him in the first, and then he stacks him with Mahomes. I feel like that's a decent point to like reach for Mahomes. Um, but man, I mean, I want to sit there and say like he has no fucking receivers, but he does it every single year with Kelsey and a group of just black guys.
All right. um Also, did you know that last year in the first two rounds we had 12 running backs drafted?
I believe it.
This
Me
year
and
was like
Ashton,
complete shit. I don't know what happened. It was like everybody was like, let's take receivers.
let's take
Except
receivers. Yeah,
Darrell. He's like, let me take a running back in Patrick Mahomes. What?
and I still somehow ended up with like Cup and Diggs at the back of the first round. That was
Crazy.
insane to me. I was I was so sure that nobody was going to pick Bijan, and I don't think anybody would have picked Bijan if Chantel did not auto draft. But I was so sure nobody was going to pick Bijan, and I was like, he's a rookie, he's going to fall, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna take a chance on the rookie.
Mhm.
And then she auto drafted, and Coop and Diggs were still there. I'm like, okay, this is seeming like a little bit too good to be true. Might as well scoop them up. Very, very strange, very weird. Fun draft every week. ADP, freaking, or every year, ADP, all the draft analysis stuff just goes completely out the window.
Yeah,
Um, all right. Want to get into the grades?
let's do it. Draft grades.
And
We
you can explain your amazing algorithm and process here.
it's not that amazing. It's actually quite simple. Kieran had found like a bunch of websites and they all did everything differently based off of like how the drafts went and the grades. So I just threw something together real quick where we could manually grade all of the drafts. And for the most part, I think you and I were somewhat close in our grading, but there were a few that kind of stood out. Like, but essentially what we did was we assigned, you know, grades A plus, A minus, all the way down to D and F, and depending on how you did, we graded you out, and then we did. I took everything together as a combined letter grade to kind of give us an idea of where you were based off of that. So
And preface that with take this with a grain of salt, as we are both not fantasy experts, and we
yeah,
have both collectively went 0-11 in the first 6 weeks of both seasons.
we fucking sucked.
So we don't know what we're talking about anyway. So
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So you and I had differing opinions on Claudia's quarterback.
yeah, I you ranked him a B minus,
I
I
ranked him
think.
a B minus. Yeah.
Why?
I feel like when I look at quarterbacks and like the level of quarterback, if I had to like group them by letter grade, you get Pat Mahomes, Jared Allen, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow. Like those are like your A's, right? Then you get into
Mm-hmm.
like Lamar Jackson, Trevor Lawrence, Justin Herbert. Like those would be your B's. Like so, I felt like Justin Fields is in that B category, and so I
Mm-hmm.
didn't really. I was like, I don't know. Like as a passer, because of the supporting cast he's had around him, I think he hasn't really. I don't think he's shown what he can do in that aspect. So, I mean, he could shock the world this year and throw for 4,000 yards and rush for 1,000 yards, and who knows?
Win MVP and everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
I I hear that. I mean, I think he's definitely been a little bit developed and like underperformed as like a passer. I think his rushing upside is what takes him to that next level. And one of the big things that I was hearing out of training camp last year was how like that true like wide receiver one alpha that AJ Brown was coming over to the Eagles for Jalen Hurts just like completely elevated like Hurts's game and
mm-hmm.
like in addition to that, just him making like strides as a passer, like getting the ball out quicker, being more accurate, everything like that. And I'm hearing like the same exact chatter like this year with DJ Moore coming over for Justin Fields. He's
That'd be
obviously
dope.
like faster than Hurts, right? So I don't think he'll get as many of like the Hurts like goal line sneak touchdowns that the Eagles had. But if DJ Moore does the same thing for Fields that Brown did for Hurts, it could be nasty, could be fun out there in Chicago. So I gave her an A- for quarterback, and I don't think we need to go through like every single
No,
position of
no,
everybody's team.
no, definitely
But
not.
yeah, that was definitely one of the bigger, I think, discrepancies. What we both agreed on was that Taylor Nesdoba, my boy, got an F for defense because you didn't draft one, my guy.
Yeah, what the hell happened there? You need that.
Just forgot.
You need a defense.
Just
Wild.
forgot. I gave Curtis an A+ for quarterback because he's got 20 of them.
Yeah.
So
But I also think that he had some solid QBs. I mean,
yeah, I mean
Joe Burrow,
all of
Aaron
them,
Rodgers,
all of them. And who was his last one?
Kirk Cousins.
Okay, you could have chosen any of them, and they could have been your starter for the entire year. And he's got three. So God knows if a plague sweeps the NFL and kills eight of our freaking 10 starting quarterbacks, we're all running to Curtis to try and pick him up.
It's so funny though. Jesus.
Overall, though, what was your best and worst team? I can't remember mine, so you have to tell me.
Yeah. My best team, as much as it pains me to say, was yours.
Let's go.
I think it was an A-. I mean, it was, I think it was average. I think you struggled with
It was an A-. I think it was average.
yeah. I think that your running backs lack a little.
Yeah, for sure. And I think when you take two wide receivers back to back in the first two rounds, you kind
Yeah.
of accept that weakness
Yeah.
on your team. But if they fucking perform, I'm in a good spot.
And I think possibly your bench is a little less than where I would have liked to have seen it.
Okay.
But with the 12th pick, it's hard.
Yeah, 10th. But yeah, no, yeah,
Or 10th
for
pick,
sure.
yeah. It's hard because I mean you got,
I'm
eight,
getting the scraps.
eight picks in between, your pick. So it's hard.
Sure.
And then my worst team making me look bad was Curtis. I think he whiffed when it came to defense, and I think he whiffed when it came to his bench.
Yeah,
Just
I would agree. I think some of the extra running back and wide receiver depth completely makes up for having two extra QBs and an extra kicker who are going to not play. You're going to have three spots on your bench every single week occupied by players that can do
yeah.
nothing for you.
He
So
did drop one of his kickers though, and I think that was important to note.
I think he did, right? Picked up a Cowboys tight end.
Yeah, the tight end Jake Ferguson. I think Ferguson's gonna have a big role in the offense this year. But
He's going to step up for the Dalton Schultz
yeah, he was looking to be the
departure.
starter coming out of camp. So hoping
Okay.
that's the case for him. But I think that helps his bench. But still, trash team. Poor George Pickens is sitting there just waiting to get traded.
Just looking around like, this is who you got me playing with.
Yeah, my
I
best and
think
worst.
my best team was either Ashton or Phil, correct?
You had Phil as your best.
There you go. Okay. So then Ashton must have been very close up there because I really like Ashton's team. I can't freaking remember how the start of his draft went, but he got JJ, Amon Ra, Josh Jacobs, like in his first three picks, which is pretty nuts to me. Um, do you remember who his quarterback? Do you have his draft pulled up?
I do. The only thing that pulled him down was you rated his kicker. Yeah, his kicker is lower.
What was who's his
So
kicker?
he has Brian McManus as his kicker.
Oh, Brandon McManus, yeah. Yeah, dude, I like him, but he misses too much for my liking.
He got
I had him last year and he missed a
he had
couple.
Justin Herbert as his quarterback, stacked with
There
Keenan
you go.
Allen.
Oh, and stacked with keep. Yeah, dude, his fucking team is nasty. I liked uh I liked Phil's team a lot too, which I mean, dude obviously knows how to put together a team. He freaking had the first overall last year, and the first overall got hurt and underperformed, and he still made it to the fucking championship. So homeboy knows something that we don't know. So
What do you think? Is Jonathan Taylor going to do anything? I mean, Miami
I don't
or
even know if he's going to
Indianapolis?
play right now the first week. I mean, I'm obviously hope he gets his situation sorted out or not. So, that's a zero for you, boy. Um, but because I play Phil first week. But yeah, I'm here in Miami, here in rumblings of Miami. I would assume Miami's a better situation for him, right?
Yeah.
Like, not a rookie quarterback, weapons on the outside, like a better offense, I would assume.
I feel
If he
like
goes to Miami, they're like
they
a contender.
they got like a crowded backfield though with Mostert, and they just drafted
Yeah,
a Shane or whatever his name is.
yeah. Mostert's not taking fucking too many touches away from JT though. I would assume.
True, true.
I would assume. And then who was my worst team? Was it also
Your
Curtis?
your worst was no,
Hey,
actually
stop it.
your worst was Taylor.
Nesdoba, really?
Yep.
Damn, that's crazy. Because I like Nesdoba's team, but I was also
It was his
I feel like
defense that pulled
everybody
you down because
picked
he did not draft a defense.
oh, there you go. When you get an F for one of the positions, your overall average is going to go down a good amount.
Uh,
So that's fair. I do like Taylor's team. He's got Josh Allen and can't remember. Should have had the draft results pulled up. I'll
yeah,
be
no,
better next
he's
week,
got
coach.
Christian McCaffrey, Devontae Adams, Josh Allen.
Yeah.
He even got Najee Harris in the fifth round, which I think is a solid pickup. I think Najee's going to have a bounce back year. So yeah, he's looking good. I worry about that Jerry Judy pick though. You never know what's coming out of
He
Denver.
just pulled his hamstring too. I
Yep.
don't know if
Yep.
Nesdoba knew that. But as soon as you picked him, I was like, and that's like his second wide receiver too, right? I was like, I don't know if you know
Third. It
that
was his third
you're
receiver.
okay. Like, I don't know if one of your starting receivers, if you know that one of your starting receivers has got a bum hamstring right now. But
But
that's why I told Claudia to pick up Cortland Sutton, like because
his fourth
he was
receiver is Godwin in Tampa Bay with Baker Mayfield.
with
I'm like,
Baker
what?
Mayfield.
I was staying away from everything Tampa Bay.
I wanted to get Rashad White strictly because they will probably check it down to him a lot. And in
Mm-hmm.
PPR, obviously that's gold. But Jensen, the guy who I played with in Pueblo, the center for Tampa Bay, who missed all of last year with his knee injury, tried to come back at the end of the year. And they're now saying that it's like career ending his
Oh
fucking
shit.
knee, which is nuts. So, like, that scared me off him a little bit. And yeah, plus, I ended up getting Ramondre and Gibbs, so I was like, okay, I can probably pass on Rashad White. But yeah. All right, your prediction outside of yourself or me, no Cocos. Um, who do you think wins it all?
I think probably Phil has the best chance of winning.
I think it's Phil and Ashton for me is my like top two that I would like put money on. I said, I think Ashton has a bounce back year. I think he got fucking hosed last year. We started at three running backs, and I'm pretty sure his first two running backs did absolutely nothing. I think he had Javante Williams, Saquon, and Najee, and Najee was hurt and Javonte Williams was hurt for the rest of the year. Saquon
Yep.
obviously saved him a bit because he bounced back huge, but he just got fucking hosed. And I think he's got a fucking squad this year. So I would say, yeah, him or Phil. Phil is in 3 leagues, I believe, and
Jesus.
in all of those leagues in the last 4 years, the man has won or made the championship, I think, every single year. Other than the first year in our
That's
year,
wild.
other than the first year in our league. And the only reason he didn't make playoffs was because we only had 4 teams making playoffs the first year. If we had
Yeah.
6, Phil would have made it in, and he
Yeah.
might have fucking, who knows, he might have been the savior to beat David.
I do like Ashton's team now. Like looking at it, especially with that Herbert
It's
to
pretty
Allen stack
stacked.
is
It's
pretty
pretty stacked.
none of the shit
Um,
matters because I'm gonna win the whole fucking thing.
there you go. There you go. That's the attitude to have
All right, week
with your
one.
fucking sex offender as the face of your franchise. That's what you stand for.
I'm giving him 1 week. If I don't see something out of him, he's gone. Um, week one, me against David.
Yes. Rivalry, big time.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
uh
And
he
I
made
don't know
some sort
why.
of
I don't hate you, David. I don't hate you. I don't know why
uh,
this is a thing all of a sudden.
talks about you all the time.
Yeah,
um he made some switch recently, which like switched the projections because you
I
were
saw
like
that.
dead
But
on 50-50. I don't know what he did, but
as of this morning, it looks like it's back to 50-50 as of right now.
oh shit. Okay, okay. All right.
Next
So
one is
yeah,
Taylor and Chantel.
Taylor and Chantel. Chantel was okay, by the way. I was getting
Good.
a little worried there because she
Same.
auto drafted her whole team, and I had texted her 5 minutes before the draft. But she is alive. I heard back from her today, so at the very least, we know that she's okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably pick Nesdoba in that one, just because I would be very sad if an auto drafted team goes on and wins the whole thing.
All right. Well, you didn't tell me who you think is going to win between me and David, and I need to know this.
Yeah.
If
I
if
will.
even a duh comes out of your fucking mouth, you're a bitch.
Deshaun Watson's comeback story. What?
Let's
Yeah,
go.
that's
Let's
your
go.
fucking name.
Next one is the all of a sudden rivalry of Claudia and Curtis.
This is all of a sudden. He was coming at her in the group chat. And I want to say there was a point in time where like you had called him out for one of his picks, and then he added her and was like, "Remember this when I smack you." And I was like, "You're coming at the wrong person, bro." So yeah, Claudia
Oh,
is going up against him, and I'm definitely going to make sure to remind this woman to set her lineup because she needs to start off on a victory and make new guy out of the stadium, man.
she's projected to win by 6 points right now.
There you go. I like
And
it.
then we have you and Phil.
The rematch from the championship. He right now is projected to lose to me unless he's made the change. But Alvin Kamara is in his lineup, who is suspended for the first 3 weeks. He's got David Montgomery who can take his spot, or he can move some flex stuff around. So he will, after making that change, he will be projected to beat me. I I probably feel like I'm gonna take an L this first week. Um, I don't know how much the Lions are going to use Gibbs first week. He's a rookie. They might ease him in, so Gibbs might come on later. So
Well,
if he
here's the
starts
thing.
off a little slow,
He has not pulled Kamara out of his lineup yet, but he does have on his bench David Montgomery, who could potentially vulture Gibbs at the goal line.
it could go both ways, though. It could go
It
both
could it
ways.
could
But
very
yeah,
well.
I feel like Gibbs is going to be DeAndre Swift, and Montgomery is going to be Jamal Williams. So if Gibbs gets enough receiving work, I'm okay with Monty taking goal line touches. I feel like I kind of knew that when I drafted him, so um, I'll be okay with it. But boy, if one of those running backs, knock on wood, if one of them goes down, the other one's value is fucking disgusting.
Yeah, true. True. Last one is Ashton versus Durrell.
Ashton versus Durrell. I like Ashton's team. Like I said, think he's my favorite to win it all. So I'm gonna go with him to pull it off against the 12th overall quarterback taker.
Ashton is projected to win right now by 5 points. So
nice. Have you seen the defensive scoring? The defensive scoring looks pretty tame.
really,
Have you seen? If you look at the projections for the defenses, they're all projected to score like 6, 7 points. Nobody's projected to score like
yep,
20 like we had last year. So
I
unless
like that.
teams are just like returning kicks left and right and pick sixes, then it should be a little bit more just normal.
Here's what I don't like is that they got the Cowboys projected to give up 28 points and 414 yards to Daniel Jones. I fuck you.
Hey, Danny Dimes, Vanilla Vic with Darren Waller and Saquon Barkley now.
But
They might be good.
at the same time, they also have San Francisco looks like projected to give up 34 points to Pittsburgh. So
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Pittsburgh
okay,
looks
so you
decent
know
though.
about the Cowboys, but you don't know. All right, this is getting
I
out of
would you say that the
here
Giants are
on
a better team than the Pittsburgh Steelers? Top to bottom, especially taking in what fucking just happened last year. The Giants made the playoffs, the Pittsburgh Steelers did not. Would
no,
you
I don't think they're better. I think
interesting?
they have better receiving core. I think they have a better defense in Pittsburgh. I think Najee can compare to Saquon, depending on what
Stop
happens.
it.
The only place that Pittsburgh lacks compared to the Giants is their offensive line.
And their quarterback. Danny Dimes is a better quarterback than
Stop
Kenny
it.
Pickett. I know
Get
you
out
don't.
of here, bro.
You do not.
Stop.
Your Cowboys lenses are not that.
Stop.
Kenny Pickett started 8 games last year.
Stop. It doesn't matter.
He's played half a season in the NFL, and you're
He's the
telling me that
starter now, full
Daniel
camp with
Jones.
the first team. There's no way this man comes out and is worse than Daniel Jones.
All right, we might have to put something on that because I almost say there's no way that after leading his team to the playoffs, getting a fat ass contract extension and a bona fide elite tight end, that Daniel Jones has a worse season than Kenny Pickett, a dude who has not even played a full season as a starter in the NFL.
What's wild to me is that you think for 1 second that Daniel Jones is even better than Dak Prescott.
He has better rushing upside. Fantasy wise, he might be better than Dak
I
Prescott.
literally hate you so much. All right.
Why didn't you take Dak then?
We
Why
have
did
to
you take
wrap
Dak?
this up because Chantel snagged him from me.
You had plenty of time.
Plus, I had no Cowboys. I was trying to get a stat going on my fucking team, but the best one I could come up with was Deshaun Watson and Njoku. So,
Didn't you pass on Pollard?
did I pass on
Pass.
Pollard?
Yeah,
I passed on
you
Pollard.
took Saquon. You took a New York Giant over your own Cowboy, and you call yourself a Cowboys fan. Curtis
Saquon
would be fucking ashamed.
is light years ahead of where Tony Pollard is as a running back.
See, this is your fucking rhetoric. You're hating on Tony Pollard rhetoric, dating back to last year because you're still in love with Zeke.
This is unbelievable.
You're right.
You are falling in line with all of the other Cowboy haters, and I hate you for it.
I'm not. I'm telling you how it is. You told me the Eagles were going to suck last year. What happened? Crickets. Fucking crickets. That's what happened, Richard. They didn't suck. And Hurts was a good quarterback. Crazy. Oh, it's that Mexican water.
You hold on to shit too long. That's what happens.
I keep receipts is what it is. I come with facts.
Fuck. All right. Last little bit here. What do you got for reminders?
Yeah. Yep. So week 1 is officially September 7th. We are 9 days, or in other words, Richard, we are how many days away?
We are Tony Romo days away.
We are Tony Romo days
AKA
away
Mr. Hall of Famer.
First. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. We're Tony Romo's away from the first season. It is going to be on Thursday, September 7th. So make sure you guys set your lineups on Wednesday. I believe the game is the Chiefs versus the Detroit Lions. So if you have any players, make sure they are good and healthy and in your lineup. And then last but not least, but still important, the payment. We have, I believe, 4 people who still need to pay. You know who you are. I'm not going to call you out. I will probably hit people up starting this week and start knocking on doors to get everybody paid up. But yeah, $100 if you got me on. If you have an iPhone, Apple Pay me. I'm keeping all the dues in just that Apple Pay credit card and not touching it.
I I gotta
And
know
then
who's the Android user.
Darrell. It's fucking Darrell.
This
It's always
fuck
Darrell.
man's got
I
money
love
for
you.
pastels, but no money for a fucking iPhone. Let's go.
I love you, Darrell, but I can't stand every time we make a dang group chat because an iPhone, you can just add another
Yep.
iPhone user and you can just keep the whole history. With Darrell, I got to create a whole nother thread because he's an Android user and it makes me love you just that little bit less, Darrell.
Motherfuckers probably
Just
got
up,
crypto
just
service too.
just upgrade. Damn, just upgrade to an iPhone, Darrell, and you'll be right back up there.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, for everybody else, Apple Pay. For Darrell, I'll hit you up with the Venmo.
God damn. I bet his phone case matches his shoes though.
Every
All
day.
right.
Got 7 phone cases.
All right. We're off and underway for the fantasy football 2023.
Yes, sir. You want to do another one on Wednesday, right before the first week of the season? Next week? Next week, Wednesday?
Yeah, let's fucking do it. Maybe we can actually talk about like actual football.
There we go. Hell yeah. Coco Podcast, episode 2, signing out. Deuces,
Later.
y'all.